this English analysis channel. This is Functions of Noun Part 5, and specifically I'm going to instruct you about noun as direct and indirect objects. So I'm your instructor and start the lesson. So here, what do you think about noun as a direct object? So noun as direct object actually to receive the action of the verb, mostly talks about the verb and receive the action of it, right? So here we have a simple structure for it, verb plus noun, and the verb here is action verb, okay? So then we have a noun. So the noun here functions as a direct object. The noun structure is verb plus any modifier plus noun. So here modifier plus noun, both of that will be direct object. Okay, let me just instruct you with some examples. Number one, she eats rice. So what do you think about this example? Here is subject, verb, and object, right? So eats is the verb here. Let me take the laser bar on the down part. So here eats the verb and rice is the noun here. So the rice here talks about the verb, the action verb eats, and it's the direct object. Another example could be Mr. solve an equation. So n is a modifier here, a determiner which we will be studied at in the future. So modifier, okay? Equation is noun, and equation is the direct object that talks about the verb solves. Then we have number 3, Helen cooks beef stew. So cooks is the verb, the action verb, and beef stew is direct object, which is a noun, and talks about the verb. Here we have a super analysis of this example. Okay, so here we have the example like she eats rice with analysis. You can see the structure, subject plus verb plus noun, which the noun functions as a direct object. So the verb, the noun here receives the action of this verb, and it talks about the verb. Here we have another example like Mr. solve an equation. So here we have the analysis with the structure. First of all, the structure is subject plus verb plus modifier plus noun. Modifier plus noun functions as a direct object. And here we have modifier, which modifies equation, modifies here, and equation talks about solves and receive the action of it, right? Okay, let's prove. If you don't understand the proof of the grammar, you won't be able to understand it totally, right? So noun as direct object, we prove how to understand that it's direct or not, actually. So this is a good question to ask yourself, whom or what? Whenever it's a living thing, use whom. Whenever it's non-living thing, use what. And here we have the examples previously I discussed about it. Here we have the way you should ask for proving. What does she eat here? The sentence, the statement sentence here is she eats rice, and the example here is what does she eat? She eats rice. Here you can see that eats a verb and rice is a noun. And instead of rice, which is a non-living thing, you can use this. So what does she eat? And what will be the answer? The answer will be rice. Anything is the answer, that is a direct object because it receives the action of the verb. Okay, so another example will be whom do they beat? Okay, what will be the answer? The answer, they beat Max. You see that? Here, the Max here receives the action of beating, right? Okay, hope you got it. The next part is noun as an indirect object. Actually, what is it? It receives the direct object, okay? As I have mentioned previously that direct object receives the action of the verb and indirect object receives the the direct object. So here we have a little bit academic, definition for it, but I prefer the simple definition rather than the formal academic one. It receives the direct object is the easiest way to understand it. It tells to whom or whom or to what or for what the action of the verb is done. Okay, so I will just demonstrate every single part later on. So here we have the simple structure, verb plus indirect object plus direct object. So you can also see this structure, verb plus indirect object plus modifier plus direct object. You can also see some books prefer this, verb plus direct object plus indirect object. As I have suggested that the verb here is the king, and then we have the direct, then we have the indirect. What does it mean? It means that direct object talks about the verb, receive the action of it. Indirect object talks about the direct object and receive it, right? So here we have some examples like Max pays only the many. Max is a noun and function is subject, pays is the verb here, only is the noun here, and the many, there is a modifier, many is here and now. So okay, where is the direct and where is the indirect object? Okay, we have two nouns, only and many. So ask yourself the question that previously I have discussed about it. Okay, what Max pays, or more academically, what does Max pay? So the answer will be the money, right? So this is the direct object, talks about the verb pays, and we know that for sure that only here is the indirect one. And you can also ask the question for proving. Later on I will discuss about it, right? Then we have another example. Jack gave John a book, right? So here we have Jack as subject, gave is a verb, and John here and is a noun. A is a modifier, book here is a noun also. Book here, a book is a direct object, talks about the verb, the action verb, and John is indirect object, talks about the direct object. Okay, so here we have the proof, which is very important. How to understand whether it is direct or indirect. Again, you can ask yourself whom or what. Whom for living things and what for non-living things. Look at this, like this. Whom does Max pay the money? What would the answer? The answer is Max pays only the money, right? So here you see that the money comes after the verb. 100% it's a direct one. And then we have only, right? Here it is, which is the indirect one. Okay, you see the answer, whom does Max pay the money? The answer is only. So here is the indirect object. It is a more analysis or analyze structure, super analysis structure. You can see that. So Max pays only the money. You can see the noun. The Max is the noun, the subject. Pays is the verb. Only is the noun and direct object. That is a modifier. Modifies the noun many, and the many is direct object. And it is talking about pays, receiving the action of it, and only is the indirect object, and it talks about the many, receive it, right? So here we have another example. Jack gave John a book. Here you can see the analysis, the same analysis it has as it, right? Okay, so thanks for watching, and make sure to understand this lesson, and if you have any question you can ask me directly on comments, right? So have a good day everybody, see you.